Warning, this podcast has stories of real-life events and true crime that happens every day. These stories may contain adult language and graphic or disturbing details not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised.
132 in Bush, I've got him at gunpoint. Check the left phone, we're going to pull that direction at this time. They're pulling them out.
911, advise ready for camp.
God! Set of War Stories. I'm Tom.
I'm Chuck.
What the hell are you doing?
I spilled my tequila. It's everywhere. God. Fuck.
Well, I'm so glad we decided to do this live. And we're live with it. Here, while you clean up, I will introduce.
I'm clean. I'm good. It's all over everywhere.
Guest. We are live with a guest who has been live with us before. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest this week is Pinche Matthew.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. This is a nice change of pace.
I think, honestly, what listeners are going to start hearing more of is with Marco coming on for debriefs to be the civilian voice. And then you're available. Like, we just might have to have you come and help co-host War Stories with guests sometimes. And we're just going to rotate you through once in a while. What do you think?
Yeah, I am A-okay with that.
Yeah, you can come anytime.
Hell yeah.
Oh, God. It's not Locker Room Check. It's War Stories.
I know, but it's still funny.
There's no bell.
I couldn't resist. Look at the way I'm sitting. Look at this.
Yeah. Okay. So please explain to our viewing audience, the live stream audience, the people listening to this on our normal Monday episode. You guys can't see that Chuck is not in his normal spot. Chuck is apparently in his gym garage and sitting on his CrossFit cage, Nordic
CrossFit
track, Bowflex,
Marcy, bro,
home gym. And so he's like legit, like he's like hanging out on the edge of the corner of the bench with his mic like in his hand. He's just being all cool. And Matt and I are stuck, being dorks in front of a microphone.
Yeah, looking down at my fucking laptop. The reason why I'm in here is because I got kicked out of my spot because some after school program BS ran way late, like a half an hour late.
Anyways,
fuck it.
Letting your kids do after school shit.
Yeah. So now they're eating, and I'm in here with the fucking dust and shit.
But you're not in with the flies and the geckos.
Oh, fuck that.
So for those of you who have listened to the show long enough, Chuck had a gecko business, and is it just the people that want to buy geckos that you're tired of dealing with? Is that really it?
There's a lot of the people. So, some fucking breeders. There's some breeders that I'm like, dude, get a fucking life, bro. And then there's a lot of clients, like customers, that I just want to fucking strangle half the time. And I'm like, you guys are assholes. Like, sometimes everyone's trying to get a deal, and when you're already trying to like lower things and then they try to nickel and dime you off that, you're like, bro, like, come on, dude. Like, you have no idea what it's like to raise these fucking things or take care of it. I could talk for hours on that. Yeah, a lot of it's the people, and then a lot of people bully other people because their opinion is not the same as someone else. And if that opinion is,
you can launch the Screw the Gecko Community podcast on this network.
Give me some like geckos first. I'm still gonna breed a little bit, just more refined to like 5 geckos.
Right.
I don't want fucking 100.
We talked.
How many do you have right now?
Oh, go ahead.
How many do you have right now? You have 100?
100 over 100 in that room right now.
They've been hatching.
Yeah, dude, a lot. I have like 100. I have like
sort of like
70 babies.
10 of them or something.
Yeah, I have like 20 adults and like 70 babies.
Wow,
Maybe
you got to keep
babies.
the boy geckos away from the girl geckos, and that problem will sort itself out.
Why don't you wholesale them?
They retain sperm, bro. Huh?
Wholesale them to my friend I told you about, and then you'll be done with it.
I mean, that's a lot to just offload on her. I'm still going to be in the process. I have a project with another big breeder, so I'm going to keep like some small stuff, like very refined, very particular on what I want. The rest I'm going to sell. I'm going to keep a few as pets, but I'm going to, I might have to go. I'm going to have to go back to work in January, and I'm not going to be able to take care of all these things if I'm working like full time again. So I'm not going to be able to do that. So I have to get my numbers down to like a really affordable and, manageable number. And, so I'm just giving away bunches of boxes. If you want 5 geckos, 10 geckos, I'll give them to you
No, I'm
for a
good.
small price.
I have no geckos, and I'm good with
Dude,
that.
I'm off. I'm like doing like $100, $120, $150 a piece on these fucking things right now. Like, and I do boxes, and there's
If
some
you have
like,
100 geckos, I want 100 less geckos than you have. If you have 200 geckos,
Yeah.
I want 200 less geckos than you have.
I want a lot less too.
I would like.
I'm starting to get overwhelmed. Yeah, the baby.
This has been
Dude.
Gecko Talk with Tom and Chuck.
Oh, 4 kids, bro. 4 kids. It's a lot. I don't want any more kids. I'm gonna get snipped, and I'm not telling my wife. I don't want any more. She wants one more. She wants a boy. I was like, I don't want to fucking.
Like I have a
no
boy,
more
you
kids,
can have
bro.
Damn.
Bro.
All right. So we talked about having
Anyways.
Matt on the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's been on the show.
Yeah.
In fact, we had a listener who hit you up
Yeah.
on social media for your episode. And if that listener is listening to this episode, I want to tell you, it took a minute.
I couldn't scroll back that far. I was like, dude, that was back in like the beginnings of War Stories.
It was episode 28, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, episode 28. That
And
was
for the
back in the
first-
day.
For the first 6 months, we only did 12 episodes because we only did 2 episodes a month. We did
Right.
every other week. So the first 6 months was only 12 episodes.
Right.
So you figure then we do another 24 episodes after that. You were in that first year.
Yeah.
So so here we are. We had you on before because we talked about your time in the Navy.
Right,
And,
right.
we talked about your time after the Navy.
Yes, we did.
And Chuck, you had mentioned that we should have him on because, well, we just been talking about it.
Yeah.
But,
So,
and
yeah, we all know Matt's been going through his EMT stuff and certifications and stuff like that to continue his service. And, I think that's really honorable. And he's not done serving. He wants to continue to serve, and he's going through this process. And he's not a young buck. He's older, right? And
That is
I think
correct.
that I think this would speak fire. I mean, you heard your word. I would speak volumes to people who are going through this, who are younger or who maybe might be older, and they're still thinking about things that they want to do. And you're never too old. I mean, and Matt's in great fucking shape, dude. I mean, this guy runs 6, 7, 30 miles every morning. I mean, come on, dude. He's crazy. And he fights bums on the way. So, I mean, it's like
it's a
American
combination of
Gladiator.
MMA and jogging.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I figured we'd have him on, see how that whole thing went. I know we've been talking on Locker Room, but for people who don't follow Locker Room or wanted more in depth, I thought this would be really cool because he's went through the process. He's getting his certifications, and he's going to start working here very shortly. So, I mean, I think this would empower a lot of people, and maybe give them that blast to their sales that they need to continue on their service, or if they're thinking about it, mulling it over.
So now Matt, for the listeners, we've talked about this a couple times. You and I worked together. When I retired, we started working for your uncle doing movie cars.
Yep.
And then you got hired at a prop house where once my retirement went through, I got a job at. And then we worked together for like 7 years.
Right.
But in different departments. So we would like poke each other's heads in and be like, hey, I'll poke my head in and say hi. In fact, I'll see if I can dig it up. There's a great picture of us when we were working on Top Gun. I'll put up there.
Ooh,
You know the picture I'm talking about, the dream shot.
Oh yeah.
So you have been working in the movie business, and now you're kind of going to still continue to do that, but you've decided to go from working in the prop department to working as a medic. Now, why don't you kind of explain to people how you go from handing people fake medical bags to carrying a real one?
Okay. Yeah. Well, so there is a position within the movie industry, and it's called a set medic, and it's open to EMTs, advanced EMTs, paramedics. They need somebody on set for, when something happens. And most of the time, realistically, it's handing out Band-Aids and, treating the occasional heat emergency. But, once in a while, if you're on an action movie, you could, get to see something a little more in depth and a little more of an emergency, an emergent sort of response to that.
People died on set. Many
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
not just
Yeah.
gunshot, Brandon Lee, Alec Baldwin. No, I mean like tragic accidents have happened on set.
Yeah, lots of falls from
Lots of falls.
elevated positions. That's the number one.
Someone died on Walking Dead that way, right? A
Yeah.
stuntman fell off a three-story balcony and broke his neck.
Yeah.
Died. DRT, dead right there. Right?
Wow.
Yep. So set medic is actually an important, like 99% of the time, nothing, right?
Right.
1%.
Yeah, and from I've being in the industry and having contacts, both on the crew side and production side, there's a lot of knuckleheads that are out there on set, and there's a lot of complaints about knuckleheads that don't take it seriously and
Right.
kind of just hang out, and it's very you're overpaid. You're overpaid as an EMT on set. You get to watch a movie being made, and you're there in the capacity of a set medic, but you make a lot more money than I'm going to make riding in an ambulance 1 day a week, which I plan on start doing part-time.
Right, it is a better gig.
It's a better gig. It's just the trade-off is you're not answering 911 calls, you're kind of just hanging out, but it's good money. So I wanted to start looking into that, as well as like Chuck said. Okay, so
change.
Okay, so initially, I was just getting kind of stagnant at the prop house. It was kind of like, I love my job, I like what I'm doing, but I'm not doing anything that's really impacting anybody in a meaningful way. It's not making a difference in a meaningful way. It's really cool. I get to be a little artistic and have a say in some stuff that you get to see on screen. But at the end of the day, I still felt this pull to serve, in some capacity, obviously because of our, previous War Stories episode, that I can't, be a police officer. Not that I would really want to right now in Los Angeles area, not in this climate, but
no,
I can't really do that. And as far as city and county, fire goes, I'm sure that's going to be a stopping point for that as well.
Well, hold on. You might have something there because a major municipality law enforcement is willing to give DACA recipients a badge and a gun. So if they can do that, maybe they'll look past someone who's gotten, honorably. That is awesome.
So this is a picture of Matt and I working on the sequel to Top Gun.
That's cool.
Yep.
So for those of you who aren't privy to the live stream,
so
yeah, and those look funny because come to find out, Tom Cruise's head is ridiculously small,
and also
so Matt
are small and tight.
You look like you belong in like one of Vader or one of the fucking
Spaceballs?
The Empire's one of the Empire's
Stormtrooper
fucking planes, right? Whatever the fuck they're called.
Oh, TIE Fighter?
TIE Fighter. Yeah, that's sorry. I was brain farting. And then Tom looks like he should be in part of the X-Wing. Like in an X-Wing.
Okay. I'll take it.
I was thinking more
his face is so like you're like, oh, so sinister looking. It looks awesome. But what was I saying prior? Fuck, I lost that just totally sidetracked me.
Yeah,
you were talking about DACA, and we were saying
so yeah, I mean that's happening. So you might be able to, you were exonerated or whatever it was, but you're allowed to possess weapons in other states, right? So if that happened, fuck it. Why can't they look past it? You did your time, you served it, you're honorable, like you honorably did it, and you've been solid for years. Why not? Like,
yeah, I mean, I for a hot minute, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do the.
That's when it's St. Patrick's Day and you're in kilts and you decide.
Was this fucking Highlander or what?
That was right outside our shop.
Right outside our shop. That's anyway.
Awesome.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, my point was we had fun.
Yeah.
And now you're not feeling as fulfilled.
Yeah. And I mean the money's great, but I've
because your buddy's gone.
That's part of it. But I've been thinking I've been thinking about
quite a few buddies at like that place has been leaking some good people.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. I'm in my 9th year there now,
Right.
so it's I've seen the revolving door. But I mean, I can go out on set as of right now. There's some top tier prop masters that have been trying to poach me for their crew for several years, so I can do that and make a ridiculous amount of money. Um, work a lot, get to travel a lot. So I'm kind of thinking, maybe I do that and go out on set and do like one show a year, and then in between that, do some set medic gig work in town.
Yeah. I mean, so we know a guy that comes into town to do one movie a year, and then
Yeah.
he goes back to Montana,
Yep.
and his benefits, he's worked enough to continue his health insurance through the union. He makes enough for the year because living on Montana, he doesn't have that big of a nut to make every month. And then he goes back to Montana for 9 months. He does a movie for 3 months, goes back to Montana for 9 months.
Yeah, it's pretty
Perfect.
sweet deal. Yeah, especially we're trying to, we're going to get out of California and head over to Georgia. So still making, Los Angeles union wages living in Georgia. That's going to stretch quite a ways. But yeah, so I wanted to do this. Plus, I also thought it was just a good skill set to have in your back pocket, a little step up from first aid. I mean, I'm no stranger to, putting on a tourniquet and stopping bleeding and whatnot. But I thought, why not? It's a good, a good tool to have in your tool bag. So
You've always leaned towards all of that stuff, but
yeah,
specifically, you've always had an interest in like your own medical care. If like you have always been like, I'm carrying a good first aid kit, I'm learning how to take, you carried sutures, you carried all these things, and you're like, if anything happens, I'm just gonna patch myself up. And now you decided to go get the schooling to do it. So I guess I wasn't surprised.
He was already acting like a medic. We went off-roading and he was already acting like a medic like the whole time. Like, we in the group that we went off-roading with, they're solid, like, so everyone goes over the roles and like things like that, and hands out walkie-talkies and shit. And he's like, hey, I have the medical stuff, yada yada, this and that. And it's just, you're super confident in those abilities, and it just transcends into this now. I mean, I think that this has been a calling of yours for a very long time, and now you're finally able to do it in an official capacity, and I think that's awesome.
Right. Yeah. I just needed to get the legal, pieces of paper that says I'm allowed to do it.
Right.
There's also that weird little, because your mindset was right. So we're going to talk about what I want to talk to you about what that's like for people, because you went part-time and you didn't go full. Like, I've seen paramedic schools where you go full-time, you're there for however long every day, and then there's like some you go in the evening for your thing. And how did you do it?
So I did a hybrid in person and online. So it was a total of 10 weeks. It's a program that UCLA puts on, and it's 2 nights a week. You have a 2-hour lecture, on Zoom, and they say that you have to be to one of the live Zoom lectures, and then you can watch the other one recorded. I was at all of them live because I was like, I'm not going to miss out the opportunity to ask questions, So you do that, and then I chose to do my in-person skills portion of that on Sundays, and that was from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So for 10 weeks, so for 10 weeks I was doing that. My
every Sunday 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. sucks, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, but I enjoyed it. I was,
no, I mean, it sucks to have to do it.
It's it sucks that I had to give up, time with my wife and daughter. That was, that whole day is just, gone.
Right.
So it's something that you thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you were on breaks, like from locker room, it's because your time was so limited. Sometimes a Wednesday night was all you had with your family.
Correct.
And that's when we did locker room. Yeah. So I wanted people to understand that Matt wasn't just like, fuck them guys.
Yeah. No,
I was continue.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say I was prioritizing my time with my daughter and my wife, and figured you guys could miss me for a little bit.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that, can you speak to this? Now, you're not a spring chicken. You're not a young buck by any means, right? You're in great fucking shape. So I'm not calling you old or anything like that. But typically people going through this course are a lot younger, right? Like fucking really young, like 21, 22 type of stuff. As a fully grown adult male that is got common sense and whatever, what was it like going to school with these kids?
Okay, yeah.
Well,
So
so yeah, let's start with what was the average age of your classmate?
Yeah.
average age was 20 years old.
Oh,
That was
Whoo, shit.
the average was 20. These kids there were UCLA and USC students that are currently in college,
Right.
like some freshmen, some sophomore, or I don't know, call it some first year, some second year, whatever they fucking call them now. The closest
but you're
person
not allowed to
to
call them freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
I've heard them say different. I don't know. It's like first year, second year. I don't know. I didn't engage too much in that.
They're adopting the European way.
The European way. Yeah, yeah.
It's less racist.
So the closest person to my age in that class was 25. I will be, what month are we in? October? I will be 48 on the 9th of November. So
8 years young.
yeah, so I was older than all but one of my instructors, and
Wow.
old enough to have fathered 95% of the kids that I was in the skills class with every Sunday. Like, so,
Wow.
so that
What was
was
it like?
so that was okay. So that I didn't, tell anybody how old I was. We had to be clean shaven and everything for that. We didn't have to be, but I chose to be because they were doing like mask fitting stuff. And plus I look a little bit younger when I'm clean shaven anyway. So, I kept the little goatee, but everything else was always scraped away nice and clean.
Right.
And there was one time that we were doing medical assessments and we had to pair up, and the instructor would say, okay, so and so, give me your patient handoff report. And my partner is this kid who was 21, and he's let me back up. When he was doing the handoff report to just me, he said, okay, I have an approximate 32-year-old male, and I started laughing. I said, dude, you're being generous. He goes, what? How old are you? And I said, I'm 47. He goes, there's no fucking way you're 47. I said, dude, I'm 47 years old. He goes, there's no way you're 47. I said, I'm 47. Like, trust me, I'm 47. Like, I said, but thank you. He goes, man, you look good. I said, well, thanks, man.
Yeah, all you've got is the little skunk stripe, and it's not even that deep. Like,
yeah,
it's just light salt that could be premature gray. This is the only thing that gives me away is my goatee. Like, I don't have a lot of gray hair.
Yeah,
if I shave, I get mistaken for somebody in their 30s. It's kind of nice,
right?
But and you lucky ducks, dude.
What? What's that?
I always get aged up. So
really?
Ever since high school, yeah, dude. I didn't get carded all through like high school.
Well, you've had a fucking beard since you were 8.
Fuck, dude. It's fucking wild. People ask me like, oh, I tell my agent, they're like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, dude, I thought you were like in your 40s. I'm like, fuck you very much. Thank you.
So you go to this class.
Yes.
And let's see, Gavin, one of our previous guests, have you taken your NREMT yet?
Yes, I did. I took it 3 weeks ago or so. That's a nerve-wracking test.
Nerve-wracking EMT?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's what it should be called. Yeah. Well, it's a computer adaptive test. So they tell you that you go to this testing facility, and it's like, I had a secret clearance in the military, and this was a more secure facility, like,
oh, wow.
they take a biometric of you, your palm scan and everything, and they, empty everything out of your pockets, take your watch off, no jewelry over a 1/4 inch thick, all this stuff. They walk you into this room and sit you down at the computer, and they give you a little dry erase board that only they can erase, so you can't like write something on it and then smudge it off. Like it's hilarious. So it's a computer adaptive test, and they tell you you're going to take a minimum of 70 questions. It could be as many as, I think it's 120 is the maximum. And you have like, I want to say it was close to like 2.5 hours it was like maybe 2.5 hours to finish it or something like that. And it's all multiple choice. But the computer will start off with a softball question that is at the minimum requirement that you should know, like a super easy, what's the A stand for in ABCs, like something stupid like that. And you answer that, and if you answer it correctly, it gets a little bit tougher. a little bit tougher, a little bit tougher. So it kind of sees where you are. So in the course of those first 70 questions, if that computer can determine with 95% accuracy that you meet or exceed the minimum knowledge requirement, it passes you and it just shuts off. But you
Is it
don't
an
know that.
algorithm or is it AI?
I don't know. It's got to be like an
Oh.
AI thing, right? I mean,
It has to be, yeah.
so it'll just shut off and it says, thank you, you're done. You'll get your results in 1 to 3 business days. Now, within those first 70 questions, if it determines with 95% accuracy that you are below the minimum knowledge requirements, it stops. Thank you, you're done. You'll get your results. If you go, if it
So if
needs
you
a
don't
little
get
more
to finish,
time,
you know you fucked up.
well, no. So here's the deal. So I was taking my test and it was starting off really easy and then it was getting harder, harder,
Okay.
harder. And I'm like, fuck, this is like actually kind of tough. Like they were throwing, I felt confident in it, but I was like, this is tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
And then I answered question number 70 and then it stopped and it says, thank you, you're done. See the proctor. And my heart just fucking sank. I was like, oh shit, either I did really well or I just bombed this. And if I just bomb this, I'm going to be so mad at myself. But I felt confident, but still there's that,
Right, 'cause
you don't
you're
know,
first in your class.
you don't know. So yeah, I mean, in my class, I was the lowest, the lowest test score I got on my unit exams that we took every week. That was like a pass fail thing that you had 2 shots and they kick you out. The lowest score I got was an 87. And all
pretty
the, I was pretty much getting like 90s and like the lowest one was 80 and I was pissed at that 87. So I was legit pissed.
Fuck you, 87.
Yeah. So yeah, so that happens. I'm like, oh crap. So I'm feeling good and I get the thing and I called one of my instructors who I'm going to be working with doing like events and stuff. And I said, okay, so I just did the NREMT and that was the most nerve-wracking thing ever.
Nerve-wracking EMT test.
Yeah. And the instructor says, how many questions you answer? I said 70 and it just fucking shut off. Okay. Were they really, really hard questions towards the end? I said, yeah, I think some of that shit was paramedic questions. Like it was some hard stuff, like
Oh wow.
because it's scenarios. And the thing about that test is it'll say, it'll give you 4 choices for the correct answer. They're all correct answers, but one is more correct. One you should do first in your order of operations. One is more important than the other. So it's like,
it's use your brain to truly understand conceptually what you're doing. Not
Correct.
Can you regurgitate facts?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So, and I said, yeah, it was really hard towards the end. And instructor was like, you nailed it. Don't worry about it. You passed. Like there's no way that, how you were in this class, how you did in skills, how you did in your tests, there's no way you bomb that. But it's funny because everybody I talk to says you feel like you fail it when it stops that minimum testing question. You're like, oh shit. So Gavin, yes, I took the NREMT, passed it, got my little card. And now I'm just waiting on the state of California to stop dragging their feet and send me another little card in the mail that says that I have an actual license to practice in the state. And then I can actually.
How many people from your class? Because it sounded like as you were going through it, there was a lot of rocks in your class. They weren't the sharpest tack in the box.
Yes.
How many of those people do you think passed that NREM EMT?
Well, there were a lot of people that we lost through the course of the 10 weeks in the class that were either failing out from the exams or people that just botched the finals, not only the exam, but the skills aspect of it. Because for the NREMT, there's the cognitive portion, which is that test, and you also have to pass a practical skills thing. So UCLA does that portion, and the instructors, it's like they don't, like during the course of the class, they would kind of be like, kind of helping you out a little bit here and there if they see you stumbling. But during this part, there's no help. There's no help. They just look at you stone face. And if you go, oh, what am I forgetting? They're just like, you tell me, like,
So out of the people that graduated, how many do you think passed that test? Just the best guess. I mean, we're not going to know.
I would say, honestly, I would say based on the people that graduated the class and my interaction with them, maybe 20%. And that's being, really nice because
how many people graduated?
Yeah. Oh geez. We started out with 90 and I think we graduated with maybe almost 50.
That's like police academy dropout rates, just so you know.
Okay.
Like what, 10 people fucking probably passed that test.
Just about like just a little over 50% or a little under 50% that drop out.
Yeah. And the thing is they tell you to take that NREMT like as soon as possible after your course. Well,
Yeah,
my last day of my class, my finals, I took my finals, got my little certificate because I had all my ride-alongs and everything done. So I got my little certificate that says you graduated, UCLA EMT. And then 4 hours later, I hopped on a plane to go to Austria for 2 weeks. So I had
so there was a little bit of a time gap.
There was that, and then when I got back and I tried to schedule it because I wanted to go into a facility and not do like a live proctor thing because they have to control your computer, and I'm like, you don't get access to my computer. I'll go into a facility. I had to wait another 2 weeks, so it was like it was just about 4 weeks after my course that I took it.
Well, it's not too bad. I mean, you had a nice break to
it was
kind of like cool
like
out your brain.
I kind of went over stuff in my head. I glanced through a couple things that I looked at that test that I got an 87 on and went over stuff that I got wrong and just kind of brushed up on a little stuff here and there. And
so
Gavin, yes, that was the hardest test.
What up from Mississippi, Clint? Hey, I don't know how Mississippi is, but Idaho is kicking. Supposedly we're gonna get, early snow this year. I don't know. But
That's another
in Mississippi, if you can believe that, Clint. You were in. Wait, see if I can remember. In all these years, I can still say it properly.
Oh,
Pasca, get down, goddamn goo.
Pascagoula. Yep. I was at the Ingalls shipyard for a bit.
Yeah,
I swam across the Mississippi River while I was there.
Really?
Because you're like that. Because I'm
that guy.
As a fucking dare or what?
I just wanted to do it.
Yeah,
I wanted to be able to say I swam across the Mississippi and then swam back.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
So now's the fun part. Now we talk about the stories of dumbassery from your schooling, but more importantly, what kinds of shit you saw on your ride-alongs. Because I can imagine you had your pick of some of the most ridiculously awesome places to go do an EMT ride-along if you want to see messed up stuff.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. So there was a bunch of different companies. There were only 2 companies on that list that are contracted with the city or the county to do 911 calls.
Okay.
There's Falk Ambulance and there's AMR.
Yeah,
and they were the only and they were the only 2. So I shot an email out to those first, and a couple days went by, didn't hear anything. A week went by, and I'm like, shit, I got to get these done. I need 24 hours total, and I need 10 patient contacts, and I wanted to get it done before I took my finals. So once I hopped on that plane to Austria, I knew I was completely done with everything.
Right.
So I was like, screw it. I shot an email out to a company that just does IFTs, which is just interfacility transports. It's, you're a taxi service for, you pick up Susie Fat Pants and take her from her house to her fucking, dialysis appointment. And
right.
And I was like, well, screw it. I want to get these ride-alongs done. So I'm just going to have to do that because there were other people that were waiting and waiting for these, because everybody wants to go on those 911 companies. I mean,
right.
Obviously that's what you want to do.
I mean, that's the goal, right? Isn't that
right?
If you're not signing up to go on 911 calls when you do your ride-alongs, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, when you did that, I was like, man, I don't know, because my partner in law enforcement, he was an EMT. He was trying to be a firefighter first. Wish he would have done that, but he ended up working a place where you do IFTs, interfacility transfers, and he was like, man, he would tell me, he's like, I saw some of the most fucked up shit doing that with like old people and like geriatric facilities and like nursing homes and things like that, and doing all those interfacility transfers. And he was just like, man, he's like, I saw a lot of messed up stuff. And then I totally forgot about AMR, and then I haven't heard about the other one. But I was thinking, a buddy of mine, he was a paramedic, but he was a flight medic, and he worked for Hall Ambulance on the flight line in one of those, yellow and white helicopters that does a lot of like airlifts and stuff like that. But he works out of Bakersfield. And I was thinking today, I was like, man, that would be a great, because I saw one fly over where we live, because I live near Kern County. And I was like, damn, I thought of you, and I was like, wow, that'd be right up your alley, is working on one of those like air crews as an EMT, or if you get your medic, and you could work for like one of those ambulance companies that does like the Airbuses.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely want to continue, and the goal is, after a solid 6 months to a year of some solid EMT experience and, you know, ambulance experience, is to get into medic school, to get my paramedic license. It's more of a commitment. It's, you know, not just financially, but just time wise. And it's going to be hard to kind of balance, you know, working a regular job to, you know, provide, you know, my end for the family and still go through
100%.
that. But it's doable. You know, I'm sure there's a program out there that I can find that'll work.
For sure. But if you're a set medic, that's going to fulfill all of your needs, and you're going to get paid handsomely for it.
Oh yeah.
But what were those ride-alongs like that you did for the company that you basically had to choose because you needed to get your hours done?
Yeah.
How was
Okay.
that?
So that company I shot an email to, they responded back within like 10 minutes. They're like, you know,
fuck.
they're like, here's, we have you scheduled on this day at this time, and this day and this time with this person on this rig, you know, here you go, show up here. So, yeah, so I show up. It was a 6 o'clock 0600 shift start, and they run 12-hour shifts. So I'm like, great. So I'll just have to do, you know, 2 shifts. I'll get my, you know, 24 hours, and hopefully I'll get 10 patient contacts. So I shaved. I completely shaved. Like, you know, because it was like a week before. Yeah, a week before we had to do our mask, you know, our OSHA mask fit, and you had to be clean shaven for that and everything. And so I'm like, screw it, it's hair, it grows back. So get clean shave. I got my, you know, nice 511 EMS pants and my white freaking stupid ass button up 511 EMS shirt, you know.
Did they give that to you?
No, I had, well, that's what UCLA wants you to wear when you go into ride-alongs.
Did you use our?
I paid $0 for it. Good. I had the company. Yeah, that's another thing. I had my company that I currently work for footed the bill for all of this for my school. I got a really nice jump bag at work now, and an AED that's all mine. That's over in the corner of my desk. And
whoa, you have an AED?
Yeah, because we have them on the wall and everything, but I wanted one for my kit that I just. So when something happens and I need to grab my bag,
ostensibly they paid for it so you could respond to something in the building.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Smart.
Because where we worked, Matt and I worked. Well, I worked in the administrative wing, right? I worked on the same hallway as like the vice president and the HR and God, what a nightmare she was. And then the hell's her name?
Oh, I'm not going to say that on here. She knows her name.
Yeah, I don't like her. Anyway, and then as like all the people were on that, like finance, all that shit, right?
Yeah.
Matt was working in the fun area. He was working where like the cheese was made, you know, like out with the crew, out in the warehouse with the forklifts and the props and the guns and the, you know, I got to stare at an office all day. But occasionally I'd get to go out and play with stuff, do stuff, yeah. Well, there are lots of dangerous things in that prop house.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's machine shops, there's, you know, all the firearms, there's just all sorts, there's racks and ladders, and there's just all sorts of
lathes,
things that can happen. Yeah.
Ooh, a lathe. You get some clothing caught in that, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, so I put together a list, and I said, hey, I need 2 pairs of these pants. I also need these boots. So I got like the EMS, you know, 511. I forget what the hell they're called.
These are the ones they require.
Yeah. I need that. I said I also need these shears. I need these Leatherman Raptor shears because I just thought they were cool because they fold up and have cool stuff on it. Like, I mean, a regular pair of shears would be fine.
Was it Jay that was like, Jay Bone was like, yeah, get whatever you need.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going directly to T.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. She's the one that was orchestrating everything. And then I went in there and I said, hey, I really need this stethoscope because the one that comes with the kit is just trash. And it was like a $250 stethoscope, which I was pushing. I was like pushing to see how far I could go with this
like, hey, you got it. What else?
Yeah. No, there,
So
she's
that's
like,
the one thing I will say about that company when and that person in general. This is my boss that he's talking about, my old boss.
Yeah.
And she's great when you need something. She's like me. It's buy once, cry once, right?
Yeah.
We're buying this for a purpose. We're buying this for real. Like if she's going to buy a camera, she's going to do her research and buy the best camera on the market, right? So if Matt comes to her and says, I need a stethoscope, she's going to look through and go, what is the best stethoscope? Oh, you need the best? Here's the best, right?
Yeah. Well, this was like a nice middle of the road one. And she said, well, don't we have some in stock? And I said, well, yeah. I said, but this is really going to be used on, God forbid, maybe you one day. So I'd like to get a really nice one so I can actually hear. And she goes, yeah. And she kind of pushed back a little bit because, you know, with the strikes and everything, money was tight. And she goes, do you really need this one though? And I didn't want to BS her. I'm like, no, I can get the next one down. It's like $150. She goes, let's do that. I'm like, okay. It's
right.
so
then you go on your 911 ride-alongs.
No, IFT ride-alongs. I did not get to go on that one ride-along.
Damn it.
You stepped out of the room for that. The 911 companies were taking forever to get back to me because they're so inundated with students that want to do that. And because I wanted to get it done in a timely manner before my trip, I just had to suck it up and do the IFT thing, which
so now you're on your ride-alongs.
Yes, so I'm on my ride-along. So first of all, the two guys that I'm riding with on my first day were really cool. They show up, you know, it's early in the morning, so shirts untucked and everything, but they both have goatees. And I look at him and I go, I didn't have to fucking shave, did I? He goes, no. And I'm like, damn. He goes, but I shaved on my ride-alongs. It's good that you did, but no, you didn't. This company, they don't really care. I'm like, nice, awesome. So hop in the back. And it's like, okay, we drove to North Hollywood and sat at a park. And he goes, yeah, we just have to stage here. I'm like, what do you mean with to stage here? He's like, they scatter us around, you know, to get ready for a call. I'm like, and we're sitting in a park. He goes, yeah. I'm like, cool. And I'm like, I gotta take a leak. Oh, there's a bathroom over there. I walk over there. That's locked. Oh, we can go to Denny's. I'm like, now we're talking. Let's go. Let's go hang out at Denny's. Like, come on. Right. so we did that for a bit, and then it was all right. We got a call. First call was, you know, nothing crazy. Had to pick up a lady, take her to dialysis. But the good thing was I got to, you know, I was the guy sitting in back and did all the vitals. So I'm like, cool, you know, like I'm confident in that, but now let's see what it's like doing it in the back of a moving ambulance with noise and whatnot, and the bumping around and everything. So, you know, that was a good experience. And I did it, you know, I was supposed to do it every 15 minutes. It was like a 20-minute drive. I did it every 5 minutes as if she was critical, just because I wanted the experience. She was okay with it. I said, you know, I just want to do this. The fun call. Here's the fun call.
Okay.
We have a lift assist to get somebody out of a sniff unit, which is why I didn't know what that was. I didn't ask. I'm like, I'm gonna Google this. Like, I don't know what the fuck.
You didn't want to ask, right? You're like, I can look it up on my phone just as easily.
Yeah. So a skilled nursing facility.
Okay.
Is and they call it a sniff, right? So, and this was a bariatric patient, which is a nice medical term for saying a fat person, obese person,
right?
So this is a big girl, right?
Right.
So we show up, and there's another unit from that company that shows up to help us, because I, as a ride-along person, the one thing I'm not allowed to do is help move patient or like lift gurneys or anything, because it's a liability. It's an insurance liability. I'm allowed to do vitals and whatnot, do patient assessments, you know, speak to nurses and whatnot. I just can't help lift. So the four of them, we go in there, and first of all, I walk in this facility, and it broke my heart. It really did. It was a private facility where people put their loved ones to have round-the-clock medical care. It was kind of like a one-story hospital, pretty much. It looked just like a hospital. And it was not one of the good ones. You know, there were just smells coming out of every room. All the nurses that were walking around just like they hated the world, had attitudes.
Yep.
You know, and I'm like, God, these are still people. Like I was like, look,
Oh,
I
yeah.
can be a prick, I can be an asshole, but I'd still like this is someone's like mother or someone's
one.
aunt or someone's sister. You know, it's somebody. There's people that care about this person, and maybe you should a little bit too.
Right.
So we go into the room.
Burnout, baby.
Yeah, I get it. Cool. Go
Yeah.
find something else to do. 'Cause
Right.
You're
Right.
not effective anymore. Find something else to do.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
You know,
Yeah. Anyway,
like I get
I
it.
can't tell you how many of those places I've been into, and all the first thing that you get that hits you right in the face is the smell of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, you know what's interesting is I would like to see police departments, fire departments, the military, and medical companies give police officers, give them sabbaticals, right?
Yeah. Like they do in Europe.
If you just say I need to take a year off, right? And you still have they just freeze your job, let you take a year off. If you're not back in a year, they can give your job away. But if you want to come back, then you can come back, right?
My job's got that.
Well, your department is a lot bigger, and
Yeah.
so and they're hurting for people. Like if
Yeah.
you know, at this point, I think if I went to your department and asked for a job, they'd probably give me
Fucking probably. They'd be like, oh, okay.
one. I mean, they were going to give me one before. I
Sure.
just turned them down.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
you go to the skilled
we
nursing
go.
facility.
Yeah.
It's
So we go to the
saddest
room.
place in the world.
Yeah. Saddest place in the world. And guy goes, okay, you know, here's the patient's name. That's the room. Go ahead and, you know, let's contact the patient. Let's, you know, basically these guys were cool. They were like, we're going to step back and stop you before you do something dumb. And I'm like, cool. Just let me do your job for the day. And you just kind of make sure I don't do anything dumb. So I walk in and there was a slight smell of shit in the room, you know, but nothing too crazy. But I was just like, all right,
a little more than a fart.
Yeah, a little more than a fart,
Right.
but
Okay. Gotcha.
this was also a 600 and something pound woman.
Which it doesn't mean it was shit.
So yeah. So it's
Go
like, I
further
mean,
dirty.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I get it. This facility obviously isn't the best. They probably aren't really cleaning her all that well. So I get it. So talking and everything, and then we go down to the nurse's little desk to, you know, get a patient report, and you know, and so he's like, go ahead and do this. And I said, okay, and you know, we're here to pick up so and so to take her to, you know, this place. And you know, is there anything I need to know, you know, about her? No. Okay. Are there any allergies? No. Does she have a DNR? And this nurse, who's, you know, this younger black lady, and she had like that cool accent. She goes, everything you need to know is in the folder. Right there.
Caribbean man.
Yeah. Everything you need to know is right there. And
Is that
she just points to
Sebastian?
Yeah, it's Caribbean accent.
yeah. And so she points to the patient folder. And I said, I understand that. I said, but can we just have a conversation about your patient, and just so I don't have to just thumb through this folder, you know? And the guy next to me was kind of like smiling. He's like, oh, this guy's already salty. You know? So I was like,
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I mean, she doesn't
You
have
know,
to be a jerk about it. You know what I mean?
exactly. I'm like, you know, we're
How
on the
many
same
people
team.
accept-
We're both trying to care for this person, you know? So, you know, go through all that. We
You should
go
probably
back
use
to the
air
room.
quotes when you say the word care. At this point, knowing what I know about the facility.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
So we get back to the room, the patient, and I'm just helping. I'm just kind of helping, like, you know, wasn't moving or anything. I was just watching what they do, and they kind of, you know, lifted the side of the sheet up and lifted her up a little bit and put this tarp type fabric underneath that and got it under her, and they're getting ready to do the transfer. And then it's 1, 2, 3, and on 3 they slide her over right onto the gurney. And as soon as she moves onto the gurney, the previous shit smell went from like a 3 to a 300. Like it was like it was like a punch to the back of the throat. Like I could taste it at this point.
Been there,
And
done
we're
that.
all going, oh, like, just like, it was bad. And then
Chuck's getting
patient-
old, sweaty.
yeah. Patient then
Getting old,
states,
clammy.
patient then states, oh, I think my colostomy bag broke.
Oh,
And so, so
dude. Dude,
So
fuck you.
I
That's so disgusting.
so
I can smell it.
so I looked down by the right of her, and there's this bag that was already full, and it's just like brown lava, just kind of like coming out through the top, right? So
Dude, your dick
there's 5 of us.
brown lava.
There's 5 of
You
us
know
in
what
this
you're
room.
doing.
Yeah, there's 5 of us in this room, and I kind of glance at the other 4 EMTs, and in my head I'm thinking nobody's gonna grab this fucking thing, and it's still leaking. So I just reached out. I'm wearing
homie,
gloves.
You're a low man on the totem pole.
Yeah, so I reach over there and I pick the bag up, and I'm kind of holding it up so it's not leaking anymore. And now there's just shit all over my gloved hand, and everything. And and it's
Watching Chuck. Oh, you guys who have not, you're missing out if you're not on this show live. You guys.
Yes.
Oh, Marco's there. Marco. Okay, so for those of you who think we're kidding, Chuck really does have.
Yeah, this is he's not faking it at all.
We're taking a break so that Chuck doesn't actually throw up, I think.
Yeah.
Nah, fuck it. Your gloves
I-
are covered in shit.
Yeah, gloves are covered in just brown lava, clumpy shit, right?
Such a dick.
And so I'm
Fucking
holding it.
brown lava.
Yeah. It was so foul, dude. It was so foul.
So you grab it.
So I grab it, I'm holding it, and I'm like, guys, and then so
You guys gotta imagine if you've never dealt with a colostomy bag, it's like a camelback full of diarrhea. Should we get Chuck a bucket?
We can't. Chuck's gotta get his own bucket.
Maybe Chuck will get a bucket, homie.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So
Over here crying.
I'm holding this bag of, liquid hot magma. And I go on, guys. And then were there peanuts? It didn't taste like there were any peanuts, Marco.
Well, because you probably accidentally got some in your mouth.
Man, it felt like it was in my mouth.
Go ahead.
So I'm holding it. I'm like, guys, and one guy goes, I'll go get the nurse. I said, cool, I'm gonna just wait here. So I'm holding this bag, and the nurse comes in, and it's this guy who's just looks like a dick. And he comes in and he goes, okay, who's gonna give me a hand? I said, okay, hold this real quick. And I hand him the bag, and I said, thanks. And then I turned around and got the fuck out of that room. 'Cause that's not my job.
You're like, this is a ride along, bitch.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking, because the patient said, I told the nurse 2 hours ago that this thing was leaking. So you know what, Mr. Nurse? Fuck you. If you would have done your job 2 hours ago and cared for this patient, we wouldn't all be in, knee deep in frickin', chunky frickin' magma shit.
Every city on the planet with liquid hot magma.
Oh my god.
Chuck made it
So
through.
So that was my line of thought. So
Fuck,
I
that
got
brings
So
me
let's
back
back
to
this
so many
up.
bad memories.
Let's back this up, because I am simultaneously loving these EMTs and kind of horrified that they didn't immediately see this and go, this fucker's a ride along. We have to step in. But I would imagine that they're like, fuck him. He's on a ride along because he's going to the school. He needs to you were willing to do it, and they said, go, cool. Have fun. And you did it.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, I can't blame them.
Dude,
Oh.
fastest time to not never search someone is when they had a colostomy bag and it fucking leaking. I was like, I'm good. Have fun with that. I'm not doing it.
So yeah, this poor lady, she obviously was embarrassed. We got her, and so the nurse is in there, and I look at the guy who I've been riding with, one of the guys, the cooler guy. They're both cool, but one was like cooler. And I said, we're kicking that exhaust vent on. as soon as we get in the back, right? He goes, "You're goddamn right we are." He goes, "I'll go in right before you and kick that fucker on before we put her in."
Goddamn, dude. And how the fuck is she 600 pounds on a colostomy bag?
I don't know, but I used one of the freaking
How do you
thigh.
have to ask that?
I had a thigh blood pressure cuff that I could not get around her fucking bicep.
Oh my fucking Lord.
Yeah.
And how old is
Wow.
Um,
Or is she not old because she's there just
she's not old. She's not old. She's just morbidly obese and had to go to dialysis.
God, it sucks, dude, but fuck.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow.
I mean, that's a shitty call.
It was a very shitty call.
Man, I had a guy start throwing his shit from his fucking colostomy bag with no legs,
Oh, nope.
talking shit to us.
Throwing shit.
Yeah, and throwing shit. Literal feces. Just fucking. He threw his colostomy bag at a fucking nurse, and I was like,
So
They're like, you have to do something. No.
I hooked up this. We had a town drunk. Like we literally had a homeless guy that was always intoxicated. And eventually he'd cause enough problems being drunk in public that we'd have to hook him up, take him to jail where he'd dry out for a week, and then he'd come back and start the cycle all over again. Right?
Right.
If he was drunk enough, it was 50-50 on whether he was going to have shit in his pants. Right? Like you just didn't know when you contacted him. He had already been hit by a car and had his leg fucked up. He had half his hand chopped off in a garbage truck accident. Like he's just a pathetic human being, right?
What the
So
fuck?
he had turned into a giant alcoholic, homeless drunk, and he was getting disability, and it was general delivery, so he could go pick up his disability check, cash the check, be homeless, and have money for the month to just spend on booze because he'd beg for money for food, right? Well, one time I go to hook this dude up because he's in a house that's being built, right? So they've got the drywall up, right? And they've got all the plumbing and the studs and everything. They just don't have any doors. And they don't have any mud and tape. And you know that part of the project?
Yeah.
Well, he's in there sleeping. And the foreman shows up and he's like, "There's a drunk dude passed out in my job site. Can you please come get him?" So I went there and I'm pulling out his stuff, and he has a flask of vodka, but it's the one like the pints that you buy, the glass bottles or the plastic bottles that you buy at the liquor store. And it's only about a quarter of the way full of yellow liquid.
Ooh, piss.
And I said, and I unscrew the cap and I go to pour it out. And he goes, no. I said, "What the fuck, Alan?" He goes, "Don't throw that out. I'm throwing out your piss, dude." And he goes, No, that's my emergency. It's got booze in there, man. And I'm like, "No, it's your piss." He goes, "Yeah, but my piss has booze in it, and I save it in case I'm hard up. I'll drink it."
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I get it. I went to a dead body once, the first dead body where you ever roll them over and they start to let the gas go. And you hear a fart and you know it's the dead guy, and then it's dead people fart. And nothing smells like dead people fart. Yeah. So there you go. That was so what's the next step for you? So, well, let's start with what's the next step, and what advice do you have for any young person or old person?
Okay. So yeah,
young people who want to become a medic versus old people who want to become a medic. And then
so next step is waiting for my state license to come in, right? I'm going to try to get hired on with there's only one 911 contracted ambulance company that is currently hiring for part-time EMTs on their 911 ambulances, because the other companies want you full-time, which I obviously can't do.
Right.
So there is a company that's hiring for part-time EMTs on their ambulance. So next step is to get my ambulance driver's certificate through the old DMV, and simultaneously while I'm applying at this company to see if I can hop on there and try to do at least 1 or 2 days a week of a 12-hour shift on a 911 ambulance, just to be out there and keep everything fresh. And also my wife has been gracious enough to pimp me out to a lot of her friends in different production companies that are just are basically waiting on me to have my license that says I'm legally allowed to do this, and they're going to scoop me up and hire me for, some non-union days of being a set medic.
Oh,
So
there
I
you
can
go.
start
Cool.
start doing that.
Is there
What-
so what union is a set medic? You don't have to get specific, but is a set medic in a union?
Yeah, they're in with the grips,
Okay.
Oh,
and
okay.
apparently it's really hard to get into that.
I'll
But-
send you a guy's name.
Okay, because I have enough content in the reality, non-union side of things where I can
Right.
easily get
Yeah.
gigs at, the minimum daily rate is ridiculous. As in good,
Dude,
ridiculously good. So,
Imagine you and your wife on the same set working.
yeah, I don't know if that would ever happen because she doesn't really do like a lot. The
They're
only
on
times
set.
they really hire medics is like when they're doing like build shows, like if there's like a
Oh, got it.
there's like power tools and shit like that, or if there's
Like
just a lot of
HGTV
people,
status.
but yeah, which I
Right.
have contacts there, and
Yes, you do.
but you know what? So
Yes.
one of the
My favorite.
yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you met her.
She's
She
my
was at the-
crush.
She was at the baby shower. Yeah.
Yes, she is. My
Yeah.
wife's jealous.
Oh, she was just here not too long ago too.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Well,
Yeah.
so
So yes,
then you get
that's
to
the next
decide
step.
if you want to stay in the prop world or go into the medic world.
Right. Which I'm leaning towards, I'd like to see if I can find a happy balance with both, where I can do like one feature show a year, and in between, do some set medic stuff,
Right.
or in between, if I'm banking enough coin with the one show, then I can hop on with the company full time,
Sure.
a 911 company,
Right.
and actually get out there and serve.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
or that'll allow me the time to not have to work to actually go through the school and get my paramedic, license, which is where I'm headed. So
Let me ask this: do you feel more fulfilled now that you've passed and you have like a path?
I do. I feel accomplished, and a lot of people are telling me that it's like, look, it's not easy doing this. You're working full time, you have a family, and you're older. And we all know that when you get older, it's, sometimes it's, I was curious to see how much of this was going to stick. Like I haven't had to study since high school. I graduated high school in 1993. I haven't had to do
Right.
classwork since 1993. So
Right.
the fact that I was the top person in my class as far as grades wise, at 47 years old, I feel like that was a good pat on the back for me.
That doesn't surprise me with you.
Um,
That doesn't surprise, you're an overachiever. When you do something, you sink your teeth into it.
yeah,
I think the takeaway for our listeners is it's never too late. I went to the academy with a guy 39 years old. I went to the academy with a guy who was 42 years old. 42-year-old was already a cop in another state, but because the state I was in didn't recognize his academy certificate, he had to do the whole entire academy again after having been a cop for 15 years at 42.
wow,
And then another friend of mine went through the academy. He gave up. He had his own carpet business. He, installed carpet for people, and he gave it up because he wanted to become a cop at 39 years old.
Yeah.
And if you're out there and you're thinking, I want to do this, let me tell you right now, if you're a guy who has the heart, or a gal who has the heart to be a cop, and you were worried that maybe smoking a little bit of weed or some of these other issues were going to keep you out of the police academy, now is the time to apply.
yeah,
Now is the time to apply.
you.
Oh, yeah.
When good candidates who don't have background issues are applying, and there are not a lot of law enforcement jobs, the requirements get pretty strict. But in a time like now, where there are so many, just to give you an idea, I believe, one of our local departments, it's a very small department. They have 7 positions open out of 8.
Wow.
Wow.
There's a local police department where I live in Washington. They're giving their new officers $20,000 in cash, like $20,000 signing bonus, like athletes,
Stupid amount of money.
just to come work for their police department.
Wow.
Yep.
There's
So-
some private ambulance companies that have sign-on bonuses right now. I mean, it's nothing like
Yeah.
that, but it's a few grand. So
there are fucking
He's in the
agencies out
hospital
there.
waiting to get his arse operated on, and
Yeah.
hey, make sure you write on the correct body part so don't screw it up, Jason.
Right. There are agencies out there that are calling people who have left their agencies, that have left that particular agency, and they're offering them their job back plus money.
Yep.
wow.
There are guys that have
Yeah.
moved away, gone to other departments, gone on to other careers, and they call their old department back like 2 years later, 3 years later. Can I come back? And they're like, yep. You can come back the same pay.
Absolutely.
The guy came back at the same rank.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just saying, it's if you really want to do it, you're never too old, and now's the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that was fun. I don't know.
I enjoyed it.
You had fun, but I had fun. So there we go. And now we can move on to the end of our episode. We normally would do a dedication, but Chuck's gonna like take us out and tell everybody what we've got going on.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you all for giving us a follow and watching us and tuning in today. We really appreciate it. We can't do this without you. If you already follow us on Instagram and Facebook, please like and share our post. But if you don't and you don't follow us, our Instagram is at war_stories_official, and our Facebook as War Stories Podcast. If you already follow us, like and share a post, obviously. And then go to our website at www.warstoriesofficial.com. Grab some gear. If you have a story you think you'd like to share, go to booking.warstories@gmail.com. Again, that is booking.warstories@gmail.com. I can get you booked. We are looking for law enforcement, corrections, dispatchers, fire, medics, and veterans. If you have a friend who you think would be a great fit, let them know about us and give them our info. Thank you for the support. Stay safe.
And until our next episode, come home with your shield or on it.